Malachi Marino declaring for the NBA draft, but coming back to Kentucky if he doesn't leave. And it's huge news for the Cats because sometimes the best gets are the ones you already have.
You are Locked On Kentucky, your daily podcast on the Kentucky Wildcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, what's going on, Big Blue Nation? Welcome on into Locked On Kentucky, your daily Kentucky Wildcats podcast. I'm your host, Lance Dawe, and on today's episode of the show, we're going to be talking about a couple of big-time guards in the transfer portal. We're also going to be discussing Mohamed Dioubate entering the transfer portal. But first and foremost, we've got to start out with Malachi Marino returning to Kentucky. If he doesn't stay in the NBA draft, testing the draft waters, if you will, big time news for the Cats because sometimes the best gets, like I mentioned, are the ones you already have. Thank you guys so much for making Locked On Kentucky your first listen every single day. I want to remind everyone we're free and available on all platforms. Subscribe wherever you are tuned in. So breaking news earlier this evening with Malachi Marino, according to him on a post on social media, after a lot of prayer, sitting down with his family and the people he trusts most, he's decided to take the next step in chasing his dream by entering the 2026 NBA draft while maintaining his college eligibility. He said, quote, "I'm looking forward to learning through this process, competing and continuing to develop my game as I evaluate what's best for my future. Representing this state and wearing Kentucky across my chest is something I've never taken for granted. If I'm back in college next season, I'll be right here with Big Blue Nation." My assumption is that Malachi Marino is going to the NBA draft, not to stay and declare officially and to be picked up by an NBA team. My expectation is for him to go, to learn what he needs to improve upon, and to come back next season as one of the best centers in the SEC and one of the best centers in college basketball. It was reported by Jack Pilgrim of KSR. And I don't know if this is behind a paywall or not, but it's floating around everywhere on Twitter now. So I have to talk about it. It was reported that Malachi Marino turned down $4 million in the transfer portal in order to take a below market value deal and stay at Kentucky. Before we even get into what I think about Marino as a player, like how good he is, or what I think about, you know, the return to Lexington, how important centers in college basketball are going to be, especially on the market and the portal this offseason, let me just say this. And let me pause for water here. Just a few minutes into the show so that you guys know I'm not kidding. I'm not playing around. If this is true, and Marino did in fact turn down $4 million to take a pay cut to stay at Kentucky, you will never hear on this show me slander him as a player ever again. We're not going to talk about how these guys perform, or excuse me, we're only going to talk about how these guys perform. You're never going to hear me creep into who they are as individuals. That's not how we do things here. That's not how you should do things. That's not how anybody should do things. They're kids playing basketball. But I'm here to tell you, if that's true, you will never hear me talk badly about Marino again, because that's a ride or die forever type statement. To turn down what could be upwards of 1.2, 1.5 million, whatever it is. He turned down an insane amount of money to go play at potentially another school in the transfer portal and said, no, I care about Kentucky first. I want to play at Kentucky. In an era that's all about how much money can I make, it doesn't matter where it is, how can I maximize my value right now, for Marino to commit to this university, still for amount of money, mind you, but still commit to Lexington, commit to Kentucky, means a hell of a lot to me, and it should mean a whole lot to you. That is significant. Now, the process that comes with the NBA draft, I think arguably is even more significant, because what I think Malachi Marino is going to learn is that he needs to do a couple of things. He needs to work on his strength First and foremost, when it comes to the catch, when it comes to physically what he does as a defender, and then he needs to work on his explosiveness and speed. At 7 feet tall, 250 pounds, it's kind of difficult to be extremely mobile. I get that. But there were reports coming out about if Malachi Marino was going to stay at Kentucky, then he was going to have to get into the best shape of his life this summer. I think that the scouts are going to tell him that. And I think when he comes back to Kentucky, I think Mark Pope is going to say, hey, we want the exact same thing for you here. So this is huge for Marino as an individual, and then as a player to want to come back to Kentucky and want to learn what he has to do to improve. I absolutely love this. And as someone who has been on the Marino bandwagon since he committed, saying this has the potential to be one of the best players in all of college basketball in 3-ish years, and you might only get one more year of them, folks. So let's say next season he blossoms. I think he has an insane amount of potential. Extremely high floor. That's what I've continued to say, and that's what I will keep saying throughout this summer. This is a very high floor player. And you look at the advanced analytics and you watch him play, he is a talent. No freshman center is coming in and doing the things that he's doing just by chance. Also, mind you, he was supposed to be third string effectively. Brandon Garrison was supposed to be a more consistent player and to take a bigger step as a leader and as a player on this team. Jaden Quaintance was supposed to be the lottery pick freak of nature starter. Marino was not supposed to do anything this season other than come off the bench and be effective as a high floor, high efficiency type guy. This is the player that you wanted to retain. Out of everybody on the roster, every single person that could have come back, this was the biggest get. This is the biggest add of the offseason for Kentucky because of how difficult it's going to prove to be for everyone in the transfer portal to get a quality starting caliber center. Malachi Marino has a chance to develop, to get stronger, to get better, to get smarter, and become one of the best centers in the SEC. He's already got a really high floor, and because he wants to be here, I'm all in on it. I'm all in on the love and support of this kid and his family. If they want to be in Lexington, we need to show them just how much we appreciate that. So if somehow Marino's watching this, somehow somebody connected to him is watching this, thank you. Thank you, and we will be riding with you every single step of the way. I am so glad that he's here. I am so glad that he's here. All right, pause for water again. Because unfortunately, we have had another player who I think is valuable enter the transfer portal. What does Kentucky do now that he's gone? Mohamed Dioubate, that is. We'll talk about the departure and what Kentucky needs to do here in just a moment. Before we do it, though, I want to tell you guys about our friends over at Wayfair. Wayday is here, and if you've been thinking about upgrading your space, well, this is the time to do it. We're talking about some of the best deals on furniture this year, decor, outdoor essentials, everything you need to refresh your home. During Wayday, Wayfair is offering up to 80% off with fast and free shipping on everything, literally everything, making it easy to find pieces that fit your style and budget. It's super easy to just filter things by size, by style, by price, so you're not wasting your time scrolling through thousands of options. The reviews and photos help you feel confident in what you're getting, and Wayfair verified products are vetted by specialists, so you know that you're getting quality. So whether it's upgrading a room, adding outdoor pieces, or just finding something that ties your space together, it makes the whole process simple from start to finish. Wayday is the sale to shop the best deals in home. Again, we're talking up to 80% off with fast and free shipping on everything. Head to wayfair.com through April 25th through the 27th to shop Wayday. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. All right. Continuing along here on today's episode of the show, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel or the podcast feed. I would greatly appreciate it if you did so. Just another little tidbit of information. I think we talked about this recently. If any of you, for any reason, are digging into your mattress toppers like a raccoon, I would highly encourage you to stop that behavior. If you have anyone in your life that is doing such things, whether it be over a basketball game, a football game, if they tear anything up for any sort of sport-related reason, emotionally, unemotionally, like if that's even a word, it doesn't matter. Keep everything clean. Don't be a raccoon. Don't be a raccoon. Unless you're heading over to Locked On Mavs, you want to be part of the Coon Squad. I believe that's what Nick Angstad's got going on over there. But here at Locked On Kentucky, I don't think we're the Raccoon Squad. Chat, that's not what we do. We talk about Grand Derbyshire and advanced analytics. That was what we do on this show. I miss Derbyshire. And I know you do too, Captain Crash. We see you and we hear you. Unfortunately, we've also seen Kentucky forward Mohamed Dioubate just 10 or so hours ago enter the transfer portal. Spent just one season at Kentucky. And statistically, just look on the surface, wasn't bad. Nearly 9 points, 5.5 boards, an assist, a block, a steal, a game. He had some really clutch performances in some big-time games. He had 14 points, 12 boards against Santa Clara. Or excuse me, he had 17 points and 8 boards against Santa Clara. This is a physical, brute, slasher-type player at times, if he could hold on to the ball. And he brought the type of edge and physicality that Kentucky needed on this roster. He also brought a sort of calming presence, it felt at times, around the basket. And I think that Mo, for what he brought to the team, he is respected. I appreciate him, and he will be missed. I like Mo Diabate, and I wish him the best of luck wherever he goes. With that being said, Mohamed Dioubate was not a fit for what this program is trying to do. This program needs more skill and more shooting ability at the power forward spot under Mark Pope in order to be successful. And while Mo brought some uber physicality, uber physical plays in crucial moments, and some smart plays, if you'll remember, against teams like Tennessee on the road, I can appreciate what he's done. I can appreciate those plays. But if he had a 3-point shot to go with it, then I would say, okay, let's see if we can get him back. Let's see if we can find a way to bring Diabate back to next year's roster. But unfortunately, he did not. He just could not shoot the basketball, and it was pretty bad at times. In order for this program to have the most success that it can have with the style of ball that Mark Pope plays, they're going to need a stretch four. And that doesn't mean they constantly have to play a stretch four. But if you're going to, there's a reason why Andrea Jelovich at some point took over the starting role. Will AJ stay? I don't know. And if he doesn't, I think it still rings true. Kentucky's got to bring in somebody that can be a little bit more versatile, I think, offensively. Now, if you can find a well-rounded guy that can be a little bit more physical, can have some of that edge, but also has the specialty, has the skill to kind of spread out beyond the three-point line, maybe can put the ball on the deck a little bit more consistently without losing it, then, and this is not me bashing Diabate, it's just what happened. He turned the ball over. He couldn't handle it. He couldn't shoot. He was an around-the-rim, brute force type player. And that's fun, and it's very valuable for the right team. Unfortunately, I don't think that's what Kentucky's going to succeed consistently with. So while his defense will be missed, while the offensive rebounds will be missed, while the heart and passion that he played with will be missed, and respect to him, hats off to him. I think he's a good player. It's just not what Kentucky needs. They need a guy who can just be a little bit more well-rounded. They also need a lot more than that because they're losing quite a bit to the transfer portal now, and they've lost a couple of guys to graduation, and we are still waiting, voice crack there, we're still waiting on Jaden Quaintance to announce. And I'm not going to get into any sort of rumors about, will JQ return, if he doesn't get a first-round grade, what's going on there. I won't get into that until we start to hear some concrete evidence to suggest that he is coming back or could, even to Kentucky. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for now, we're looking in the portal. And Kentucky, I think I'm going to talk about two guards here. One of which Kentucky has been linked to that we've already talked about on the show. Even more so now. They've been linked to. And then another player that is one of, if not the best player in the transfer portal. And look, I don't know if Kentucky's going to get involved. But if they don't, I will be upset. Sure, if they don't get him, I'll be upset. But if they don't even give him a phone call and it's not public, Kentucky's contacting John Blackwell of Wisconsin, then I will be pretty upset. Because both these guys would be good, but you got to give a call to Blackwell, dude. Let's talk about that here in just a moment. Before we do it, though, today's episode is also brought to you by TurboTax. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient for you, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers and emailing back and forth, wondering if they ever really get your situation. But with this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide, and you can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert and get your documents uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every single dollar that you deserve, while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in, meeting a real person, and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment. Just want to remind you guys, if you've not subscribed to the YouTube channel or the podcast feed, wherever you're tuned in, please go ahead and do so. I meant to make a note about this before I went live here. But I will check to see who won the bracket pool. Because let me tell you something. It wasn't your boy. It was not your boy. All right. Let's get rid of the water here for a second. I am thirsty. Don't take that in any sort of way. Anyway, so I want to talk about two guards here. I want to talk about two guards. And the first one, Kentucky has been linked to. Now, I'm pretty sure some of these reports have been behind paywalls, but things get public on Twitter, and it would feel disingenuous for me to just be like, what? No, that's not happening. What are you talking about? I can't, in good faith, host a Kentucky show and not be like, hey, guys, hi, Lance Dawe here. Devin Vanderpool of FAU would be a great pickup, and you know what? Kentucky's talking to him. They might be reaching out. Also, just a fun side note, Kentucky is also apparently going to have a Zoom call with D-Dan Thomas. Now, that is public, thanks to Matt Jones. And then also, Kwame Evans is another player, according to KSR, that Kentucky's going to reach out to. We're going to talk about those two tomorrow, just to let you know. Just a little tease, in case you want to subscribe now. And maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. Get your stats ready, because we've got some things to say about those two. But Devin Vanderpool, I think we've already talked about him before on the show, 6'4", 175. He averaged last season in his sophomore year at Florida Atlantic 15.8, I said that weird, 15.8 points, 6.3 rebounds, 2.4 assists per game with 1.5 steals and nearly a block per contest, shooting 43.8% from the floor and 35.1% from three on 6.2 three-point attempts per game. You want to talk about high floor, high scoring, winning players. Blossomed this season after playing just 7.9 minutes per game with the Owls in his freshman year. He is a gifted scorer. He is a solid athlete. And according to Evan Mia, he is just a well-rounded player that doesn't really do anything bad. Just doesn't really do anything that bad. He's a B overall in terms of Bayesian performance rating. He's a B plus defensively. He's a B minus offensively. He's B plus in scoring volume. He's a B in rebounding. He's a B in court impact. He's a C in playmaking, a B in three-point shooting, a B minus in assist, a B in both offensive and defensive impact, a B in defensive rebounds, a B minus in blocks, B minus in free throws, B in steals. I mean, he is just a high floor player here, and you get him at Kentucky at 6'4", with the counting stats to back it up. Also, 101.6 defensive rating. That would have been, it might have been the best in Kentucky's rotation. And you say, well, is that adjusted for stuff? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, if you're looking at Evan Mia and you're seeing a B, you're seeing he's in the 80th percentile in defensive impact, and that's adjusted. That's BPR is adjusted for quality of opponent there. So yeah, he's a good defender. He's a plus defender. He's got size. He could spray it at volume. He could score at volume at the 2. He would be somebody that I would absolutely love to pick up. And now that I'm thinking about him a little more, I'm actually going to pull up his KenPom stats because I am a loser. I don't have a life, and I absolutely love talking about KenPom stats. Am I blind? Devin Vanderpool did, in fact, play at Florida Atlantic. I just missed him. I just couldn't see him. Oh, look, he's got comp to Gabe Vincent here. Wow. 108.7 offensive rating. That's not bad. It's slightly above average. KenPom says he shot 37% from 3, so somebody's lying. And yeah, he's got a decent free throw rate, shooting 78% from the charity stripe. I mean, I'm not mad at any of this at all. I'm not mad at any of this at all. Where did he play primarily? Oh, he was hurt. Oh, so that's why he didn't show up. Oh, I am not blind. I just had to dig for him. Anyway, cool. There's a little side note there in the final segment of the show. But a player that I need Kentucky to go after. I need them to talk to this guy pretty badly. John Blackwell of Wisconsin. They need to give him a little ring. They need to say, hey, Mr. Blackwell,
we need you to come to Kentucky, like yesterday.
They need to do it right now. 19.1 points, 5 boards, 2.3 assists, 1.1 steals, 43% from the floor, 39% from deep on 7.3 3-point attempts per game. The kid can spray it. He was averaging 19 in the frickin' Big Ten. I need this guy yesterday. I need him yesterday. And then you look at his player grade overall, 98th percentile. Offense, 98th percentile. Defense, 98th percentile. Scoring volume, 98th percentile. I need a scorer. I need a scorer. I need a stud. I need a star. I don't care. This kid's going to be commanding like $4 or $5 million. Throw it at him. Go. And if you don't throw it at him, go talk to him. I will be so unbelievably mad if Kentucky does not give this kid a ring. As in the words of Tyler, the Creator, ring, 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 ring. Pick up the phone. John Blackwell. Please, 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 Kentucky, talk to this kid because he is a stud. That's all I'll say on him until Kentucky does or doesn't, in which case I'll get on my soapbox and rant, or I'll get on my soapbox and rant. I don't know. We'll see. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of the show. Again, we're going to talk about D-Dan Thomas, Kwame Evans, whatever else is going on for Kentucky. The portal technically opens in like a few hours, so watch that space. Maybe we'll be live again. Who knows? I'll see you, hopefully not at 1 or 2 in the morning. But you can follow the show on Twitter at Locked On UK. You can follow me on Twitter at Lance Dawe_, and follow the show over on Instagram at Kentucky Podcast. Any questions, comments, concerns, you can leave those in the YouTube comments below. Hit me on the socials. I will see you all tomorrow for another episode of Locked On Kentucky. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and God bless.